Hey, you, do you want me to come on now?
Hi, friend.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What?
Do you hear that song?
No,
You don't hear it?
no, but maybe because I'm a panelist.
Hold on, let me see now.
Mm-mm-mm.
Can you hear that now?
No, my Zoom might be blocking it out.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me do it again. Let me see if you can hear this.
The word and peace.
Hey there now.
I write what God
You can hear
says
now? Okay, hold
before.
on. Check this out. This is for you.
I'm in.
As people come in, I want to just kind of give them a little something to come into.
Each
It's one
morning
o'clock,
starts with the
but
word
we've got
and
some
peace.
early people here.
I write what God says before the day's release. Before the emails, the calls, the grind.
All right. Hold on. Let me take a picture. How are you, friend?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So we are gonna get started. A couple of minutes, but I want you to hear the words to this.
Oh, it went away again.
I did?
Yeah, I can hear you clear.
Hold on.
Laughter flows. I serve mi familia, that's how love grows. Everything will be alright. Él nunca falló. His promise is true. Su voz me habló. I'm designing each day with this dream in my soul. This rhythm with Christ, it's making me whole. God, you
You
said
hear it
it.
now?
I
Yeah.
believe it. I don't lead alone. You still lead it. No soy perfecto, pero soy constant. Every day I choose love. I lead with balance. Everything will be alright. Estoy en su plan. I feel steady inside. Mi vida.
So that song was written by one of our friends. And it was after we were on a I would say real estate cruise. And we learned how to use I would say the power of AI to turn it into our anthem,
Mm.
kind of like our own manifestation to who we are and what we're building. And one of the speakers talked about his daily regimen, about how he takes a picture every single day on his way to school. He has triplets, and the kids actually argue every day about who gets to sit in the front. So he figured out a hack that every day he would take a picture just because somehow the next day they would all forget. So for the last year or so, he's been documenting every morning when he takes his kids to school, and he takes a picture. And what they think is more of a verification of who actually sat, it's a memory that he's keeping on taking his kids to school. And he starts his day, making sure he takes them to school before he goes to the office. And when we were listening to one of the speakers, he talked about how what legacy do you want to leave? And what kind of leader do you want to be known as? He says, and what if you could write your own song that you could wake up to, whether it's your own manifestation or gratitude song? And that was a song that one of the dads wrote. He was actually one of the speakers, and he was vulnerable enough on day 3 to share his biggest impact. That he went to his room, he sat down, and he wrote down what he wants to be remembered as, the man he wants to be remembered as, to his kids, to his team, how he leads others. And he wrote that song, and he talks about before the busyness of the emails, before, tackling the day, and, who he is as a father. who he is as a man, a husband, a Christian. And it's such a beautiful song. And I know we're going to get into some of these things today about leadership. But I wanted to start off this with sharing that song with you because it inspired me. Because I think a lot of leaders oftentimes don't even know what their personal mantra is or what legacy they want to leave. And oftentimes they want to do so with business. I know you're completely different and you're going to be able to share some really valuable leadership lessons along the way that you've learned, and you've learned from some great gurus. And I wanted to also, I think gratitude is a key, right? In any type of business or leadership space that we're in, as we grow, I think we become more grateful. And on my desk, I have these affirmation cards that I want to just say thank you because you gave me these when I was going through my own, I would say, leadership journey, and you gave me my affirmation, I'm a badass affirmation deck cards. And I actually want you to know I have them. I appreciate them. I use them either in my office or my bathroom. And I have to remind myself that I'm the captain of my own damn ship, steering through life with confidence. Or I also get to say, I'm a badass and I unleash my inner beast on my goals. And it's because of these cards. And it's really nice to whisper positive things to ourselves and speak nicer to ourselves. And Abel wrote that song, and he shared it with 150 other leaders who all started crying. And they said, we thought we were coming here for a real estate conference, but we actually had a transformation. We've gotten it all wrong. Oftentimes, we're measuring the things that we realize don't even matter. And since then, 120 people, most of them have shared their anthem, and we have our own playlist. And that playlist, we share it, we listen. People have written songs of forgiveness to their loved ones, to their spouses, dedication of beautiful songs to their, to their children, and also their anthem for their team. And I just wanted to say that I hope that you and I can write a song together and leverage AI for authenticity, because we know in this busy world. But I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for being my friend. Thank you for all the years of leadership lessons you've taught me. And as my friends listen to this, whether they're on live or they're going to listen to it in the pre-recording, because we have, a lot of people that'll listen to the pre-recording, is like, leadership is more than just business, right? And you have been able to be a part of this industry that we call real estate that we all know. But I think you've had a front row seat to leadership in so many different ways. And I just want you to share with the friends that are listening today and that will listen to afterwards, a little bit about you, where you're at in your life, and some of the lessons you've learned along the way, so that hopefully my friends don't have to go through some of the things that I've gone through. And yeah, so welcome, Amy Somerville, my dear friend. I call her the personal development whisperer, the CEO whisperer, the woman who gave me permission to dream big since I met her that first time in 2012. And here she is, one of my best friends, Amy Somerville. Welcome.
Thank you so much. As you know, I am so honored to be here. And I think you're right. Like, the communities that we build and intentionally build are so important, that we get to share with each other opportunities to just, shortcut it a little bit, even if it's just cut the corners off. Like, what lessons have we learned that we can pass to each other, so that the people that we care about don't have to go through the mud and the muck of it. If they can just cut the corners off, just shortcut it a little bit. That's the power of a community. But I want to give the same respect and love and honor to you back. Watching you and learning from you has just been incredible. I can't believe when you say 12 years, because I have a 13-year-old. My youngest is 13. And I'm like, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. And then, something that you were sharing about just a second ago, it made me think of one of the last times you and I were in a room together in a leadership meeting. And I feel terrible because I can't remember her name. And I think I said to her, look, I'll give you credit the first couple of times, and then I'm going to steal it because it was so beautifully said. And the comment was, legacy is not what you leave for, it's what you leave in. And I think that is such a a big deal when we're so focused on the outcome and the results, and driving forward to whatever it's supposed to look like at 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, the end of the first quarter, second quarter, whatever that looks like for us. We lose a little bit of what we're leaving in. And I think that's beautiful. I love the fact that you guys are writing songs as a tribute, something that sticks around a long time and then provides impact to other people. So beautiful. Love that.
Yeah, and I just felt like it was in my heart because I have your, again, the gratitude cards here, and I think oftentimes, we're always looking for the playbook, we're always looking for the, like the shortcut, and a lot of times it's in who we become along the way, right?
Absolutely. By the
And
way,
I
our
think
song is clearly going to be either reggae or hip hop. I just want to make sure everybody's clear.
yeah, because a lot of people don't know that that's our jam, right? That's our jam. We 100% love hip hop, and we're gonna let people know that if you really want to grow, what you really should be doing is to jamming out to some music with you and I, because that's one of our little secrets. So, well, let's get started, Amy. I mean, you have sat with some of the greatest, I think, influential leaders in real estate, in the real estate space. You have helped led, well, companies that I mean are just to this day iconic, right? And I have had a front row seat. I've been able to watch you. I remember when I first met you, when I bought my first Remax franchise. Just so that anyone who doesn't know, I owned a Remax franchise and I bought it, pretty much I was a baby. I didn't even know what I was doing. But I bought this. Oh, and by the way, like I'm my computer, just FYI, if you want the real deal, like is sitting on top of the Alex Hormozy, like hundred million
Nice.
dollar playbook. By the way, if anybody wants one of the books, like DM me and I'll get you one because I have 200 books to give away. Amy, one of them's got your name on it.
Thank you.
But what I would, so I bought what I thought a brokerage in a box. And I thought that was going to solve all my problems. And I thought, wow, this is it. I'm now owning a brokerage. I own a brokerage with a big name. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have to learn how to be a leader. I have to, I actually have to be a like a real leader. And that is where I had my first oh shit moment. Am I allowed to say oh shit? I had an oh shit moment. And then I had to go to broker owner training. I had to like read manuals. I had to you know, like get serious about this investment that I made that was a long-term contract. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was you that I remember seeing on stage. And I was like, wow, she's dope. She's speaking to us, she sees us, she really is just so genuine. And I think I felt like this instant connection. And not only you were also like a female leader, like obviously helping all these broker owners, but you genuinely cared about us as brokers. I was low-key intimidated because I was like, she's, and I'm not gonna, and this isn't, guys, and I hope anyone listening to this uses some of these leadership lessons as as inspiration. I saw you on stage and it wasn't about being on stage. It was just you represented something to me. I had not seen a lot of women in the space. You were confident, you were teaching us, you genuinely were holding our hands saying, look, you're going to be a successful broker owner. We're going to help you measure your wins. We're going to give you support. But you actually walked the walk and you were so I don't know, inspirational to me. And you gave me permission. I remember leaving. I was in Colorado and I said, I think I just saw what I am going to become. Like
Mm.
I want to be like her when I grow up. And that was 2012. And I remember I had to do an interview on a camera and I was like so nervous. My palms were sweaty. Here I am about to be like Eminem, palms are sweaty. I'm like so nervous. And part of our graduation was doing our announcement video. And I think I had had like 10 takes. I was like vomiting. I was like, I told Vinny Tracy at the time, I was like, I don't know if I could do this, But you were my I would say my inspiration to know that women can make it in this business. You were the first woman that I ever saw like at that level that gave me
Wow.
that moment. And then I remember when I had my first speaking um and it wasn't like a small speaking gig. It was like in front of almost 3,000 professionals. And I went through TEDx training and I saw you and I was like hyperventilating and I wanted to like give up. And you were like, you got this. And you spoke words of confidence in me, and the rest was history. So I just want to thank you for that. But you have actually coached a lot of broker owners and teams and leaders in this space. And I want the people listening who are in the real estate space, who you've seen multiple markets, to learn a little bit more about your history, and then what are some of the traits that leaders that you have coached in this space, agent to broker owner to regional owners to then franchise owners and beyond, senior executives. What are some of the traits that you've seen along the way?
I love that. And I kind of want to go back. So you honor me and I appreciate that. And then also kind of like, wow, I don't think I realized that so much. And one of my most, like we'll say, longest standing memories of meeting you was this interaction that we had, right? You were preparing for this huge speaking event. We were at a conference convention and you walked right up. I mean, like just straight up, no no nervousness at all confidence. And you're like, look, anybody who's watching this, who knows you is like, yeah, keep going. Like, this is a dead on story. Look, this is what I have to do. I want to make a huge impact. Like, teach me what you know. I need it, and I'm like, you got it. Like, you already have it. The fact that you would, I think one of the things, if we start talking about attributes or characteristics in great leaders, is not needing to be perfect, is being willing to be authentically you, honest, direct, imperfect, ask for help from experts, not put on the facade of I've got it all together and I got, in fact, I would say that's the opposite. The people that I know who in leadership positions, we're going to say that because and remind me to go back to this, but I don't personally believe that you get to define yourself as a leader. I think in fact, I've heard it said something like, that's like walking into a room and saying, I'm the funniest person here. Like, you don't get to decide that. The people who are in the room get to decide if you're the funniest person in the room. The people you lead and are around and empower and impact and connect with get to decide if you're a leader. So you don't get to just say that you're a leader. And those that I think that I've watched, they don't even realize they're kind of living in this imposter space where they have a confidence level of, this is perfect. And I'm, put on this stage for a reason and this and that. And people tell me I'm a great leader. So clearly I'm, the best leader ever. If you are not humble enough to recognize that great leadership comes from being vulnerable, from being authentic, from recognizing that you've got more to learn and more to grow from, and that there are people all around you that you can tap and ask, not from a place of, of fear or, being embarrassed, but like, just go like, look, hey, Amy, I'm going to be on a stage with like thousands of people and I need you to tell me what you know. I need all the sauce, right? You had all the sauce and that, but the fact that you were willing to do that and, just like not even a thing, no embarrassment. I think that just speaks a lot to your leadership style. So I would say characteristics for me of, whether it's, top team leader, individual, let's start there, top individual, top team leader, top broker owner, top regional owner, top leader in general in the world, in any industry, in any space. The first is recognizing that your job as a leader, if we're going to call it a job, is first and foremost a choice. It's a behavior outside of being named or recognized that way by the people that you lead. It's a choice every day. And it's a choice in love, and it's a choice in vulnerability, and it's a choice to develop other leaders. So I think great leaders know that their role is first and foremost to lean with love and to create other leaders. And if we do that
Okay.
effectively on all sides, whether that's allowing a home buyer, home seller to be the leader in their transaction, or, broker owners from a recruiting and development and retention standpoint, to regional owners working with broker owners, to leaders around the world who are just willing to, like, how can I connect? How can I serve? How can I impact from a place that is not selfish mission, but really wanting to develop others? And I think when that is the focus, and you see it all the time. The other is there's not a person I've ever interviewed in, like, some of the most, I would say, prolific leaders today and in our world today. Not, when I say world, not necessarily industry world, but world. In growth, in personal growth, recognize that they didn't do it alone. Right? It's not in them to develop by themselves. There is the story behind the glory. There is the what you don't see helps build the trips, the tribulations, the imperfections, the oops moments, the wish I could put that back in my mouth kind of moments, lead you to your next thing, lead you to your next success, lead you to your next growth. And they're all willing to share that. Again, I think leadership for a long time was described, and I feel like I saw a post where you almost started with the same thing, and I 100% wholeheartedly believe. I remember being told that leadership was like you should visualize a duck on a serene pond, where it looks like it's floating on glass, and underneath its little flippers, what do we call that? Little feet, webbed feet, are going like a mile an hour. But you would never see that on the surface, because great leaders don't ever let you see them sweat, and all that kind of thing. And I think depending on your age or what industries you grew up in, who the models were that you were looking at, you may have come up with that perception. And I think that's done a lot of damage. Something will happen. I mean, for me, it was, I don't know. I've had to learn this lesson probably 5 or 6 times, which is an embarrassing thing to say. Apparently, I don't learn very quickly, but learn it multiple times over, that it is in being real and authentic and a little bit broken. And I don't mean like vomiting all the things, like it's not therapy, but like, is there a lesson that you've learned that you can pass down to the leaders you are trying to raise that's going to change things for them, that's going to help them cut that corner, not shortcut, but just, not have to endure the same, pain or challenges to get there. So I think great leadership is found in the characteristics of being imperfect, and being someone who cares to be a servant leader, and someone who recognizes that every trip, every fall helps them build the playbook and the blueprint of tomorrow.
So good. So good. It's kind of like, I think we're in this new era where, when everybody's trying to be perfect, those of us who actually are just showing up real and raw, we just continue to realize there's more of us out there that have a lot more in common than what we thought we didn't. And that imposter syndrome is real. I mean, I've struggled with it. I think you're one of my confidants that I can call, and anybody who's listening might think differently, right? But like, even when I reached a point in my career where I thought like, this is everything I dreamed of, then I looked up and I was like, oh, well, this feels a little empty, because I hadn't worked on some of the things that really, like John says it. John is obviously one of our personal friends and coaches. He says everything that happens in the dark, right, will come to light. And I still hadn't resolved some things in my own personal mind, where I had to just stop sabotaging and believing that success was going to be temporary, and that I was going to lose it, and that someone was going to come and take something from me, because I grew up a fighter. There came to a point where I remember saying, I'm not a fighter anymore. I'm going to fight. I'm going to blow. I don't need to fight anymore. I had to resolve that person in me that always felt like I needed to prove something else. And even when I got to certain things that supposedly were what I thought was going to be that next, win, I had to realize that I was like, okay, I continue to move like the goalpost to another win. I'm like, this is draining. And we talked about burnout. Burnout is real. And I've experienced burnout, and I think you also expressed to me that you've experienced or seen burnout. And let's talk a little bit about that because I don't think people talk enough about it.
I think you're right. I want to go back and honor John Cheplack as well, because when he gave me one of the best definitions of imposter syndrome that I've ever had, and it was many, many, many years ago. And one of the things he kind of like chuckled at me and was like, and by the way, that imposter syndrome can lead to the burnout. Right. Is that like, oh, it's more, 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 more. That's more impact, more productivity, more all of these things is going to make me feel like I'm not an imposter. And that also leads to the burnout. But he said to me, he's like, look, I will tell you, I see more imposter syndrome in strong female leaders than anyone else. And a lot of it is this, right? Like, okay, the fighter piece is one piece, but the other piece is we focus so much on the outcome of once I achieve this level, then I'm happy. Once I get here, then, and he's like outcome, the goal's great. Focus on the process. What's your highest and best use? What's the thing that is having the biggest impact on your life, your business, your family, your whatever, your mental health, your spiritual health, whatever that is, and double down on that. Focus on the process and get out of the noise of, well, but if I don't reach this, right? If you're focused on the things that you do, that you're passionate about, that you're good at, that you're double downing on, those processes become the outcome, right? So I just want to honor him with that because I think about that all the time. I've never forgotten that in probably 10 years. Burnout's a thing. Strong entrepreneurs. I just had the honor of speaking at a 3-day MBA in front of doctors. And what's funny is I got there knowing just that about the audience. They were doctors, they were opening up their own practices or had their own practices like entrepreneurs. And I was like, look, I mean, I imagine this is a thing. They're clearly brilliant, focus driven, process driven, what am I going to tell them that they don't already know, right? Imposter syndrome. What value could I possibly bring to this room? And I told them a story about burnout and how I got clarity. We'll say the first burnout, sadly, the first time I had a massive burnout, I've told this story a million times. I went down the path of like, this is never happening again. I'm never putting my husband and my kids, and myself and my personal health so far at the bottom of the list that I have the potential of losing it all. For what? Right? What was the actual goal? What are the systems and processes that I needed to build control around and not just be reactive to everybody and everything, and then, drop my stuff at the door and never return to it. So, I'll skip through this because I don't want it to be too long, but I did create an acronym that is something that I truly believe in, and it is my scorecard. I know that my purpose is to lead, to inspire, to provide value, and to empathize. And by the way, that might be my purpose, but I'm also supposed to receive that. So it's reciprocal. So in my day, no matter what's going on in my day, at the end of the day, come 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever my end of the day is, I get to control like where I know that I have been living in my purpose for the day just by tapping in one of those to lead, inspire, provide value, empathize, or to go seek it from somebody else, right? Like I could call you at, 7 o'clock at night and be like, hey, tell me something great that you learned today. What's a great podcast you're listening to right now? What's a great book? Like I need to be inspired because I know that that's when I'm in my sauce, right? That's when I'm in my jam. And that just helps me on the reset of the burnout. But it is a story that I told this group of individuals, and there was nothing more impactful than I shared that entire, 3-day MBA in the tactical, practical leadership skills, tools, frameworks that impacted them more. Where every day, either coming in or at lunch or leaving, it was like, Amy, you sharing that story was so big. I've been through 2 divorces. I don't have a relationship with my children. I got very, very sick and was put out of my business. Like that is a real thing for entrepreneurs. Like we're in the top 1% of people that want to control our entire world. And that becomes a little bit of a control freak thing, especially if you have the personality that drives that. And your life can get very quickly down the path of burnout, where it is, I mean, it is a real thing. 2020, I forget what the statistic was, but like the burnout rates of entrepreneurs during COVID was through the roof. Just the anxiety that comes with building a business and what's going to happen with the planet and the world and reaching my customers, and especially those that had physical, businesses that were customer service or service based, and they had to be with people. And there was this, we can't be with people right now. How do you reinvent? It's a lot. We take on a lot of pressure as leaders, and being able to have a community where we can unleash some of these things and reconnect and learn from each other best practices of like, hey, this is how I create a scorecard so I don't end up here. Or this is, I will recognize the signs when they happen. Or, hey, can you be an accountability partner? And when you see me using this language, when you hear me panicking at the end of the night, when you hear me using I language versus we language, whatever those signals are for you, that your community can be like, hey, let's take a beat. Let's get back to your gratitudes, get back to your routines, get back to the things that stand you up and give you the power to do what you do every day. But it's real. That is a real thing.
So good, so good. I sometimes question my own leadership, right? I'm like how I go in these spurts, and then I'm like, I retreat, I will go and, kind of like, and sometimes people are like, just stay consistent, but sometimes you need to pause. Sometimes, and I posted yesterday, I think I mentioned to you a picture of just like me just pausing. And lately I've been finding a lot of peace and purpose in the pause. And where I used to be this grind, I would say leader. Now it's more like I need to think, I need to just pause, I just need to feel, and I need to just really be in a space of intention. And I didn't give myself permission to do that before, but lately I have. Reading obviously the book 10x is greater than 2x, which I don't know if you've read it. If you haven't, I will ship it to you because I bought 10 of them just to give away because the book is so good. And guess what? And you know me. Oh my God, the author lives in Orlando. I already know where he lives. He doesn't even know I know where he lives, but I'm going to be his friend. Just FYI, anybody who's listening, this is who
Putting
I
it
am.
out.
I'm
Make
a
the connection.
weird person like that. I'm like, I gotta meet him. I'm gonna meet him. But anyways, I think it's such a great book. And actually, someone that is a friend of ours told me about the book, and then I started reading it. I started having my husband's reading it, my team leaders are reading it. And one of them said to me, V, now I understand why you needed to go and take time to grow in this space, and what they may have thought was me not maybe outgrowing or just kind of like leaving them, kind of like unsure.
Mhm.
After he read that book, he says, I understand why you had to go and take time to really process and learn and think through things because you needed that stillness so that you can operate in your superpower, which your superpower is when you can get into your strategic thinking and you see things we don't see. And he says, for a while, I was kind of bothered and I felt like you left us. He says, but now I understand, having been with you so many years, you do this with, you do this. And when you finally do find time to do that, you come back and our world just changes.
Mhm.
It's just a world that opens up for all of us. And what I found was when I wasn't taking time to do that, I had conflict with self. And obviously I couldn't always be in think mode, but like lately I can recognize, okay, I'm going through one of those growth spurts where I need to take this time to really think, step away, put the right leaders in place, and allow me to go into like what I would say the think lab. And not just the think lab, because it's not all thinking, it's more like clarity and purpose as
I
to
was
what it
just
is we're really
about to say
building.
that to you, is I believe, and actually the presentation I just gave was called Success Follows Clarity. I
Yeah.
don't believe there's success without that clarity. And if there is, it's short term. And I think that also is where burnout happens. If you are experiencing success in the short term and then rebuilding in short term, like chasing the small win successes, that are, you know, hopefully going to build up and give you that that good, you know, hit of dopamine and like feel of success. Long-term success, clarity is required, and clarity of self is real important in that, especially as leaders, but regardless, anybody. When you're talking leadership, it's clarity of vision. What is it you're trying to create? What do you want it to look like, feel like, smell like, taste like? For who and why? What's the purpose? And then what's the culture that you're going to create, the clarity of culture that you need to create that is going to deliver that vision. So I am 100% like, I'm like nodding to the beat with you, sister, that clarity. And a lot of people don't feel like they can take that because they feel like it's selfish. They feel like, you know, everybody's watching. They feel like if I leave, nobody will do. Everything's going to fall apart if I take 5 minutes. And I think it's absolutely, I was talking to a friend yesterday who was like, I never thought I could not be a part of my, like, be in the business every day. The vision I wanted for my company was out here, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get there. And then I was physically, emotionally, and we'll just say from a health perspective, required to take a beat, and took the time to find the clarity. And the business, not only did it run, but it has been running. And he's like, we're going to hit the vision faster with me out of the business.
Yeah.
Gaining that clarity, and then like leaning on their skill sets, and they get to step up to the plate. Like, that is the scariest thing for leaders, is to be like, but this doesn't exist without me. Right. And you're right. There are some team members who would be like, what, where'd you go? Why are you leaving us? You know, you're like, you're abandoning us. No, that you asked about characteristics. I don't know a single leader in the world who had, like, when I think of really uber successful individuals, the John Maxwell's, the Tony Robbins, the Damon, all of them absolutely take what they would call almost like a personal sabbatical. They find a time, they go retreat by themselves, and they create. They create the environment they want to be in. They create the feelings they want to feel. They create the successes they want to accomplish. They go and create all of that. And their businesses are fine and operating. And sometimes they come to find it operating in a better space. So
better. Well, I mean, I went away for 5-6 weeks, obviously this year, and I've taken more time away to work on other things. And even just this week, I took another impromptu find myself trip. My team has been number one 4 months in a row while I've been gone. Isis and I will talk, and she's like, hey, I just need you here. This is where I need you. This is where I need to be able to tap into your brain, and need your support, your coaching. And while I'm working on other things, working on the business, right? I'm like, you want to be wanted, you want to be right. And you go through this identity shift where I'm like, wait, if I'm not the one on every listing appointment, or I'm not the one on every buyer consult, or I'm not the one interviewing every agent, like, I'm speaking terms of my real estate friends, right? Those of us who think that we have to do everything. You could start recognizing when you assemble a really good team, it should operate better if they really are aligned with your vision when you are not there, because they really want to make you proud. And you should see the messages I'm getting from my team, like, hey, we poked holes at this. We recognize this is an area that we had a missed opportunity and that we neglected, or, hey, this isn't working. Like, we should cut it, because honestly, it's an expense that's not necessary. Like, when they massage the P&L, when they are like wanting your margins to be better, that's when you realize, like, I have a dream team,
right.
And this dream team hasn't always felt like a dream team. A lot of times I was the cause of the chaos. I was the cause of the chaos because I felt I needed to be in everything and do everything. But lately I've found, like, it's this beautiful place to be in. I'm not saying go and leave your business, but when you can recognize something has to change, right? I've been doing this for a long time now. For me, it was like, okay, I need to go out and really discover, do I really have what I believe I have? And it's funny just watching what the team has accomplished while I've been gone this year. This year, we've been more profitable. We've been happier than we have been in a long time. The team is just top notch, getting better every single day. and more opportunities keep coming our way. And I'm like, wait, that just happened. And I have been taking that time to show up like a better leader as well, and giving them permission also to make some mistakes, and permission for also them to discover who they are as leaders. And a lot of the coaching conversations I have with my leadership team is just like, okay, tell me about what you learn. What did
Mhm.
this experience teach you? Not me coming scolding them or correcting them. It's more like, hey, tell me if this was your team, which it is, how you would handle it. And then they'll give me their perspective. I'll give them different opinions, and how about looking at it like this? And then they
Yeah.
have these aha moments, which is really beautiful as you're growing leaders, to watch them also discover, like, hey, we're not going to spend money on this because this doesn't give us an ROI. And then I'm like, okay, but what's the ROI? What's the relationship? What's the ROI on the relationship? What's the ROI on retention? I flew back, Amy, for 3 reasons. Okay. I could have stayed an extra week in Italy with my husband and worked remote. I do have the luxury of that. I can do that because I have a great team and internet, and I could do that. But 3 things. I flew back, because I made a promise to one of my leaders, and I wanted to keep my promise that we were we would host a very special, unique marketing strategy on, you saw my house, my listing.
It's amazing.
Um, oh my gosh. And we just had, actually right now, while I'm on this webinar, I have 30 of the most influential real estate and social media gurus in my house right now. We hosted a TikTok mastermind and an Instagram algorithm mastermind for agents who are generating anywhere between 500 to 1,000 leads a month. And that was it was invite only with the best agents. I went, I hosted, I created a platform for them all to come. They're all here from different brokerages, creating this relationship where people trust you regardless of what brokerage you're
Love
in.
that.
So we hosted that. That was one of the things she says, Veronica, it was your idea. So I have a rule. If it's my idea, I own it. Right. And like, or if it was, like, and I didn't pass it on properly to someone, then I have to execute on it. And this was one of my ideas that I wanted to put together with this really special person who said yes. And I was like, maybe I don't have to be there. I was like, no, I need to be there. Great turnout. The second thing was, I have 2 very special people that are ready to develop in the agent attraction recruiting space. And I
Mhm.
could have sent them to John's ranch alone, which he obviously is someone very special to me. He's my coach. And I'm like, you know what? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm going to dial right next to them.
Awesome.
I'm going to go with them. I'm going to roll my sleeves up with them, and I'm going to spend 4 days with them and pour into them so that they can become the very best in this craft. And they know I'm not just shipping them away to a training, say, tell me what you learned. I'm going to be side by side with them, not micromanagement, more
That's
like,
leadership.
I'm committed
Yeah.
to developing the future talent that I believe is for tomorrow. And I want them to learn not just from my coach, but I'm there with them, and I'm going to help them understand, the struggles that come along with how heavy that phone can be when you're making that call, or just the objections, or the things that get in your mind. That was another promise that I made. And the third part was like, um giving honoring my husband in the space that he needed to go do what he was doing, while I also had to come and give myself space to, continue to build this business. But those were 3 things that I was like, as a leader, I have detached myself to where I'm not in the day to day, but I
Mhm.
also know when it's time for me to jump in and
Sure.
say, hey, I'm a wartime hero, warrior with you. You need
Mhm.
me to, we're in some challenging times in some people's eyes. I'm going to show you how I would do this. So it's funny that, my VP, she says, so you're going to go with them and you're going to dial with them. I'm like, I sure am. And it's fun for me. It keeps me like relevant, where I'm like, okay, like, yeah, let's do this. Give me 200 names. Put me on the phone. Let's do this, coach. How often do you see leaders, like, when it's time, how nerve-wracking is it for them to just say, like, I used to do it, oh, I'll still do it if I have to? Like, is that something that's a common trait, or am I crazy?
Oh no, I think we're all crazy. I think we are all, I think most leaders that I know who in the entrepreneurial space for sure especially when we have built the brand around a particular vision. We're control freaks. Can we like I'm not even worried about the word freak. I type A personality, like it's a thing. And recognizing when you can, when to step back. You said something a second ago that I thought, I always get the physical visual. Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant recognizes 4 different kinds of work, right? And we're talking about defining the difference between rich and wealthy, right? And rich, you just get money. When we're talking about wealth, you're talking about time and money, right? You're also talking about feeding your soul. You're also feeding who you're supposed to be, your purpose on this planet, however you want to define wealthy, but it's more than just dollars and cents, right? And the only way to get to wealthy is to develop and empower, in my perspective. So, the 4 are you're either an employee, or you're self-employed, or you own a business, or you're an investor. And an investor, the comment you just made was, I've left my business a lot over the last year, and I 100% trust the team to innovate, to move forward, to grow, to be profitable, to think outside the box, to empower other leaders. You're an investor, sweetheart. Like, that's the ultimate in leadership, is when you can get to a space, and he defines it as, if you can leave your business for a year or more and come back to find it operating the same or better than when you left it. That, I believe, that is absolutely how you build empires. That's how you become an investor, is that you are investing, empowering the leaders that are with you. And how you're doing that is by showing them that you're willing to roll your sleeves up, that you don't know it all either. And you're willing to go and invest and develop yourself alongside them, because you trust them, but you also want them to have a partner in you. Like, I love everything you just said. You're the ultimate. You're the best. Yes.
Oh, thank you. You're the best. You inspire me. What of just some of the people that you've had the opportunity to talk to, interview, are there any particular moments that one conversation just shifted it, whether it's 1 or 2, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a handful of people, but like, is there any one particular person that you're like, it changed everything for you? There anyone that comes to mind,
Yes,
or just
several,
really
I would
made an
say.
impact?
Probably several. And I feel so blessed to have made connections in weird ways, and how the universe just sends you the people sometimes that you need to hear from, and you just need to be listening, and eyes wide open. And I will say, first and foremost, John Maxwell has been that person for me. John, gosh, we've had connections through lots of different people, through a long period of my career. But about, gosh, a year and a half ago or so, he happened to be in town, speaking at an event, actually about an hour away. And I texted him and I said, hey, I would love to come and see you if you're going to be, this close to town. He's like, absolutely, I'll be looking for you. I'm like, John Maxwell, he says that to everybody, right? He's the sweetest heart on the planet. Like, of course I know you, blah, blah, blah. I get to this event, and I mean, beeline, Amy Somerville, it's so great to see you. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, first of all, that makes you feel seen and so good, with all the people he impacts and empowers every minute of every day, and through how many years and books and content and podcasts and courses and coaching and all of that. But we had a moment without even speaking to each other. And he said, like through the session, he was just staring at me the whole time, deadpanning me in the eye in this whole room of people. And at the end, they were kind of whisking him out to get through security and get on his plane and take off. And he came back into the room, off the elevator, came back into the room. And you could tell security was like, John, like, what, like, we're trying to escort you out here. And he goes, Amy, I'm going to call you. And I was like, okay. And a couple of days later, I was visiting my dad, and out of town, and we're having a morning cup of coffee, and my phone rings, and I look down, I'm like, John Maxwell's calling. All right. Like, Dad, excuse me, I'm gonna have to take this. And I had a conversation with John where he said to me, he's like, Aim, you exude leadership. Like, it's just radiating off of you. but I can feel that you are focused so much on the control and the impact. And I would love for you to be able to reach your kind of your next mountain by surrender. And I was like, part of me is like, you don't know me, my attitude self, and the other side was like, oh my gosh, that's so lovely to hear. Like, what do you mean? How do I do? Yes, how do I get to that? And not that this is, however you believe. He just asked me. He said, "Would you consider yourself a spiritual person?" And I said, "Spiritual, yes. I feel like I have been distant religiously." In a religious component. And he said, okay. He said, I think that's kind of how I felt, was that you are open. You are ready to receive. And what you need to receive is a little bit of faith and greatness that comes with surrender. And he gave me some homework and he's like, I'm going to call you in 6 months. And he's like, I think your world is going to change. And the homework is somewhat religiously based, but it was also, changing my routine in the morning. Instead of, I don't know if you're this way, I know you actually, I do know that you are like this. A lot of us sleep and dream of our activities of the next day. Do you do that? I wake up and I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do that. Before I'm even out of bed, my head's already telling me what I need to execute on, who I need to call, where I need to run, things I need to create. Don't forget to write this down. I'm adding things to my to-do list. And he said, stop all that noise, right? You wake up, you roll your gratitudes, try to be creative in what those gratitudes are, and surrender it. The goodness of the day. Just know that you're not in control of all things and you got a partner. And it changed a lot for me from the, I'm going to say the imposter syndrome piece, the control freak piece, the burnout piece of, I have partners all over the place, not just community, but in my spirituality that reminds me that we are all worthy of all good things. And we don't need to worry about how to get there. We're good. We're good.
I love that. And I'm not, me, I'm unapologetic of my journey and my faith. And faith has been actually through business, I really reconnected with my faith. So in the moments of burnout, in the moments of being a leader that was overly worked, maybe stressed, self-imposed, by the way, a lot of it, because I was always chasing. I want to say I'm grateful for that because it was what led me to my knees. Yeah. And when I remember, I was kind of negotiating with God and kind of telling him what to do. And then he reminded me that he's in charge. I said, God, give me the answer. Give me the answer. I need the answer. And all I could hear was, I am the answer. And I think you had mentioned to me when we had a call, I think I was in, I remember exactly, I was in Torrey Pine in San Diego, actually, when you and I had that call, because I remember I was on the balcony and I thought that was beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, John Maxwell, that's huge. And if you actually listen to some of John Maxwell's leadership podcasts, he actually says a lot of his leadership just comes from the Bible. That's really what he teaches.
He's rewritten all of his books without apologizing for that being the front forward. Because yeah, he told me the same thing. Everything I've learned about great leadership has been from the Bible. Take it or leave it. He put it out in business books in that way. And yeah, if you go back, even if you aren't reading the versions that have scripture in them, if you go back and read, his leadership, I call them Bibles, you'll be like, aha, it's all right there. Yeah. And I just was reading it from a different way, but he is, when people say that leadership is love, that is who John Maxwell is to me. He's just love. He's so just good. All things.
Yeah. And I honestly, I personally, like, as I continue to grow and I'm so, I would say, in love with this version of leadership that I am discovering, that is rooted in my foundation of being in love with my faith
Right.
and being unapologetic. I wonder, like, why were we taught that we can't talk about how faith and leadership like technically go hand in hand? But it's okay. Whatever you believe in, but that's on you. I just know who I am and where I'm at. And John Maxwell has been one of those leaders that I could just listen to. And, again, I feel like I'm just a baby leader in my space now that I cracked the code on this part, because I'm like, oh, I've been leading wrong the whole time, like without this foundation of love and in my leadership style. So I just feel like this is the beginning of this next chapter. And I'm grateful that you and I are both on this journey together. And I remember, you talking to me about it. I was like, oh my God, Aim, I'm in the same space like right now learning. And I actually have been giving away these cards that my good friend Colleen has, which are called um, business. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot, but I give them away. They're basically leadership lessons for faith-driven leaders. And they're a deck of cards, and it's 40 days of prayer for your business. And it's just beautiful. 40 days obviously has a special meaning in the Bible, but John Maxwell is a pretty successful leader, I think. And I think we can learn a
He's
lot of
done all right for
leadership
himself.
lessons.
I think so too. Yeah, no, he's one of the greats for me. I think Mel Robbins is one of the greats for me. We go way back. It was kind of cool to interview her and show her a picture of like, this is actually when we first met. And it was a small, intimate room of real estate professionals. And I was pregnant out to here. And she was kind of stepping into her leadership space, and the book hadn't even come out yet, and all of those things. I think there is something very much to, if you haven't read the Let Them theory or purchase it, that's one I have lots of copies of. There is just something to not comparing yourself to everyone else and serving to everybody else's needs, meaning that you do it so much that you ignore yourself. It doesn't mean like, hey, F you, whatever. It is, but making sure that you're putting some guardrails on, because you get this one life too, right? That we know of.
Yeah.
You get this one life too. Are you honoring yourself? Are you honoring your family? Are you honoring your relationships? Are you honoring what you want to deliver to customers, to clients, to team members, and all of those things, and not letting some of the small stuff make you question yourself, second guess yourself, make you feel like an imposter, or you don't have it going on. It's just enough of, hey, I can let them because I can let me. And I feel like she is such a, she's brilliant, because it's always in just these like teeny little, easy to deliver sound bites, right? 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go do it. Take an action. Thank you, Mel. Yeah. Let me. She kind of just puts it in these little easy to digest and simple processes. And I love that. Love that.
I don't think I've always loved Mel Robbins, and I don't think that there's some principles that I do in life that William Lamb has told me. He said, Veronica, you've always been a quantum leap thinker. You just didn't recognize it. And I think of Mel Robbins with the 5, 3, 2, 1, like to just do it. Like sometimes I'm like perfectionist in my own head. I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for the right moment. But then I realize I'm also the person, I'll be like, all right, let's do it. What do we got to do? What door do we need to knock down? So it's kind of like, can you live in that duality that sometimes you'll do it and sometimes you'll basically out talk yourself from doing it. I think I'm guilty of it. But I think the times that I have taken action and just like, look, like, who cares what they're going to think? It's okay. Even if you fail, get back up, right? On the other side has been where I look back and I'm like, I to myself. Yet on the times that I've overthought about it, worried about what other people thought, or like allowed that mental space to just eat me up, I'm like, then I got to remember, what gets me out of it? It's the taking action, the 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Come on. Speaking great words into myself, believing in myself again. And it's just such a simple philosophy, but just, so many of us like talk our way out of it. I'm so glad that Mel is doing the work that she's doing as a woman. It's simple, take action, simple. And I'm so glad that you brought up John Maxwell. And we have a gift. Amy is going to provide for everyone on this call and even those who will get the replay. And we're going to send out the download so you can have her list of her favorite books that have been leadership lesson books of her, of her journey and the journey of others that she has had the privilege of sitting with. And that is going to be our free gift to you so that you can, maybe add it to your Amazon account, order it, get it on Audible. My tip on how to read a book, if you're not that person, I'll tell you how I read books. I learned this from my friend Ben Kinney. And I read it on 1.7 speed, and I redline the heck out of my book.
Yeah.
I like the paperback and the Audible, and I'll go back and I just write notes. And then if I have an aha moment, I'm like, I want to read that chapter again. Like, I need to read that one again. That's my way. Amy, I can't wait to get my hand on your list of books that are your top favorite books of all times in your leadership journey.
Yeah,
And
I gotta throw
for
this in. I know
one,
you're trying to wrap, but I gotta throw this in because it's John Maxwell, very Ben Kinney of him. He said, when I read a book, first I make my mark on it, and then it makes its mark on me.
you told me that? Yes.
That guy. But yeah, right. You go through and you make your highlights and you underline and all of those things. And then the second time you read it over, you're like, oh, now it's having
First, you make your mark on it, and then it makes its mark on you. That's how you know that book has made a difference. Oh, so good, so good. Oh, I can't wait for the books that you give them and the marks that book will have on their lives.
Are you sure I can only give 10? Okay, I have 10.
You can give as many as you want. I just figured 10 was a very easy number. I didn't want to put so much on you. I know you're working on a lot of cool things. I know you're spending some time with your family. And I'm so proud of your leadership. I'm proud of this phase and season that we're both in, prioritizing our family, prioritizing our health. I'm actually hosting an event September 20th, and I thought about you. And not that I'm aging us, but it is a book, an event around a book called Being Unbreakable, Unstoppable, and women in leadership that also don't talk enough about menopause and how menopause affects women in business. And if we can educate women, even in their early 30s, on how to prepare for how it can even affect their wages. It can affect how they're viewed in the boardroom. It can affect how they show up. It affects alcoholism. I'm super excited about this event. It's called I Am Well. It's a book that I'm going to make sure I send to you. So hopefully you can add it to your list. But like my friend, let's go change the world. Let's go let women know that they can lead. Let's go let men know that women are amazing and are best addition to their teams and that we can all lead with love. Let's add that to our mission together, please.
Love
Thank
it.
you guys
Love you.
so much for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking out an hour to bless those who are on the call and those who will get the replay as well as the download. And you are amazing. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you
Thanks,
so
friends.
much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.